The river swallowed the car in silence first, then with a violent rush, as if the night itself had decided to erase what happened on that bridge. Headlights vanished beneath the black water, bubbles exploded upward, and for one terrifying second, it looked like no one would ever know there had been people inside. What no one saw, what would later shock many, was a homeless boy on the edge of that bridge, barefoot in the cold, jumping without hesitation toward a sinking car to save a 200-pound Hell's Angel twice his size. Before this night, almost no one knew the boy's name. He was 16, thin as a shadow, living between alleyways and the forgotten corners of the city. His days were measured by hunger and cold, his nights by the constant fear of being invisible forever. He slept under cardboard, washed in public bathrooms, and learned early that most people looked through him, not at him. He carried everything he owned in a torn backpack and survived on small kindnesses that never lasted long enough to feel real. Yet something stubborn lived inside him, a refusal to fully disappear, a quiet strength shaped by years of being knocked down and forced to stand back up alone. That night, rain slicked the bridge and traffic hissed past in long streaks of light. The boy had been searching trash bins for food when he heard the sound, a sharp metal scream followed by a crash that cut through the rain. He looked up just in time to see a car smash through the railing and plunge into the river below. For a heartbeat, the world froze. Then panic spread across the bridge as drivers slammed their brakes and shouted for help. Phones came out. People stared. No one moved toward the water. The boy didn't think about the cold or the weight of the river or the fact that he couldn't swim well. He didn't think about how no one would miss him if he disappeared. He only saw a car sinking fast, trapped in darkness, and felt something deep inside him ignite. He kicked off his shoes, dropped his backpack, and climbed over the railing as if his body had decided before his mind could object. The water hit him like a wall, knocking the breath from his lungs, but he forced himself downward, following the fading glow of the headlights. Inside the car, chaos reigned. Water rushed in through shattered glass, filling the cabin with terrifying speed. One man was unconscious in the passenger seat, his massive frame slumped and unmoving. The driver was trapped, disoriented, struggling against the steering wheel as the river claimed more space. The boy slammed his fists against the door, pain exploding through his hands as glass cut his skin. Blood mixed with river water, but he kept going, driven by a desperate urgency that drowned out everything else. He forced the door open inch by inch, fighting the pressure of the water, his arms shaking as if they might tear apart. The unconscious man was enormous, close to 200 pounds, wrapped in a heavy leather jacket with Hell's Angels patches barely visible in the dim light. The boy wrapped his arms around the man's chest, tried to lift, failed, and tried again. Panic clawed at his chest as his lungs burned, but he refused to let go. With a strength born from desperation, he dragged the men free of the car, kicking upward with everything he had left. They broke the surface in a storm of water and gasping breaths. The boy clung to the men, barely keeping his head above water as the current fought to pull them under. His muscles screamed, his vision blurred, and for a moment he thought this was where his story would end, anonymous, unfinished, lost beneath the river. But somehow, inch by inch, he reached the muddy bank. Hands grabbed them from above. Strangers pulled them out. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder with every second. The boy collapsed on the ground, shivering violently, his hands raw and bleeding. Paramedics rushed past him toward the biker, cutting open the heavy jacket, shouting instructions, working furiously to bring the men back from the edge. No one noticed the boy at first. He lay there soaked and shaking, watching the river flow by, wondering if he would simply fade back into invisibility once the excitement ended. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of ordinary people to do extraordinary things, take a moment right now to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to Everyday Heroes. Stories like this matter because they remind us who we can be. The biker survived. Word spread quickly once the patches were recognized. Reporters arrived, police took statements, and people replayed shaky phone footage of the rescue again and again. They focused on the miracle, on the shock of who had been saved and how. Eventually, someone asked about the boy. They found him sitting alone near the ambulance, wrapped in a thin blanket, trying to disappear into the background. When they finally looked at him, really looked, everything changed. The men he saved woke up hours later in the hospital. He was a veteran biker, feared by many, misunderstood by most, carrying a life full of hard choices and harder consequences. When he learned who had pulled him from the river, he was silent for a long time. Then he asked to see the boy. When they met, something shifted in the room, an unspoken understanding passing between two people from opposite ends of society who had both known what it meant to be written off. The biker didn't see a homeless kid. He saw courage. He saw a reflection of himself from long ago, before life hardened him. He made calls. Not the kind that caused fear, but the kind that opened doors. The boy was offered a safe place to stay, medical care for his injuries, and a chance to go back to school. More importantly, he was given something he had almost forgotten how to hold: belonging. The city talked about the rescue for weeks, but the boy's life changed in quieter ways. He learned what it felt like to sleep without fear. He learned his name mattered. People listened when he spoke. The biker visited often, not as a symbol or a headline, but as someone who understood what it meant to be saved by another human being. Their bond grew not from gratitude alone, but from shared respect. As winter passed, the boy grew stronger, both in body and spirit. He volunteered with rescue teams, standing near that same river, helping others, turning his trauma into purpose. He still remembered the cold, the darkness, the fear, but those memories no longer defined him. What defined him was the choice he made on that bridge, the moment he refused to look away. Just before the ending, take a second to comment below and tell us what you would have done in that moment, or who this story reminded you of. Your words might inspire someone who feels invisible today. Near the end of the year, the boy stood on that bridge again, watching the water move beneath him, no longer a threat but a reminder. He had been homeless, forgotten, underestimated. Yet when the world needed him most, he answered without hesitation. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that heroes don't always look the way we expect, please like, comment, and share this video with others. On Everyday Heroes, we believe the smallest acts of courage can change lives, and sometimes, they can save them.